Welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast, your friendly guide through all the ups and downs of life. We're here to remind you that every woman has the strength to take charge of her journey and make her dreams come true. Each week, we'll share heartwarming stories and helpful tips from amazing women who have faced their own challenges and come out stronger. Tune in, get inspired, and let's start this exciting journey towards achieving your dreams together. The Women Lighthouse, your guide to a brighter tomorrow. You're welcome to the Women Lighthouse podcast. It's great to have you on the show today. Today, we're going to be exploring and concluding our series on our parenting journey. And with me here, I have Mrs. Aniefion Willie. She's married and she's a mother of 4 lovely children. She works as a public administrator, but she's also a Christian missionary together with her husband. And basically, her focus is to educate and provide skill acquisition and discipleship for the people that she serves. And she'll be here to share with us her experience as a mother of 4 and how her parenting journey has been. You're welcome, Mrs. Aniefion.
Thank you very much, Doctor.
I just want to begin by asking you, your children, how old are they?
Okay. I've been married for 14 years now,
Okay.
and my child will be 13 in July. My second child will be 10 on October 1st. My third child will be 8 in December. And my last one is a male. And please note the term last one will be 4 by 6th of March.
Wow, that's so lovely. Did you always want to have many kids?
Well, we had to draw a table, draw an agreement. He had always wanted more kids. Me, I said no. The normal 2, 3, 2, 3, and later on, we just said, okay, whatever you want. But by the time I had 3 girls first, 3 females first, and he just said, just try again now, please, try again. And since it wasn't just about having male or female, because for us, any child is any child. That's the gift from God, whether it's a male, whether it's a female. But I just said, let me try again. 4 is not a crowd, even if I'm beginning to review that a little. But we tried the 4th time and had a male. Being a male and only male doesn't mean he's special more than others. Every child is the same, even if it's unique ability. So, and we ended up 4, even if we didn't plan 4.
Okay, wow, that's lovely. I admire you. Maybe one day I'll be like you. But anyhow, that's so lovely, Ma. So I want you to share with us how has the parenting journey been for you, having to parent 3 girls and now parent a boy. Has there been any difference parenting the boy and also parenting the girls?
Okay. Every child, right from pregnancy stage, comes with his or her own uniqueness. And I'm a Christian, and I believe that every child comes like that, and you must trust God to direct such uniqueness properly. As much as I have 4, none of them are really the same. I have a child that barely shouts on. I also have the child that shouts. Now, when I mean shout, is more of putting into because I'm going to talk about shouting and yelling later. But I think so. But there's a child. There are some children you have to hold their hand. They are not disabled, nothing. But it's just nature that you must hold their hands till you put them beyond the shore. And yet there are some children that come and you can just tell them ride along, I'm going. So whether it's a male, okay, the male came like a full male. We were thinking that when we gave birth when we had a male, he's going to look like a female male and somebody that has been pampered a lot of female. My dear, it's not so. This guy came like a full matured guy, and he's behaving like a man. And I had to readjust and say, no, you have to learn how to handle a man. Even if he's also very emotional, no matter how he behaves like a man, he would always come and hug me, peck me, and tell me, I love you, I love you, I love you, and all those things. I said, I'm okay with the love. It's okay, go and do what. But he's a man. So at every point, I needed to learn how to handle every child that came my way. That's just it.
Okay, so what do you enjoy most about parenting your kids?
Well, it's the love, the relationship. Parenting for me now has been more of relationship than a bossy kind of thing. Some parents do parenting as being in charge, but I view parenting more of a relationship. Just like you have friends, you have acquaintances, and you make sure that you you don't joke with those relationships. So parenting is more of a relationship, and you know that these children are also people that are growing with emotions, growing with everything, and you must make sure that you play your part. So it's a relationship I've succeeded to create that, by God's grace, that my daughter can just come and tell me, I want to tell you something, and I just know that she messed up outside, for instance. She's coming to clear the table before anybody comes to report her. That confidence, that running back to me has been something I enjoy so much. So that by the time I'm hearing it outside or whatever, I can know how to handle it. I've told her I'm your number one friend. Don't do that. Nobody deals with you like your mother. So I think they are taking that and they are not playing with it. So that's what I enjoy most. You not ask me what I don't like most.
That's the next question.
I don't like doing homework. I don't
Oh,
like doing school work.
why?
Why? Because there are many. There are four. And I believe
Okay.
in deliberate, intentional parenting. I know that you can outsource work, but I've also found out that outsourcing roles, except for someone like me, except I meet someone that has my kind of spirit. And so sometimes I want to sit down. For instance, when I just had one or two, I would sit down and make sure I do their homework myself, and I see their progress surely. But it's not really so. I've outsourced school academic work for especially my last born to someone else. She's doing well, but many times I just feel like he would have been the one. And education is first and foremost the parents' role. The school just helps you in doing it, and that's what I believe. So that's why I know that the work there is much. So having many kids now, four, I don't know if four is many for that, but it's overwhelming. In fact, I tell my friends that I don't want to give birth again because I don't want to do homework. They will just laugh at me. So that's it.
Then, when it comes to like your expectations for parenting, like before you had your first child, while you were pregnant, or while preparing towards having your first child, what were some of the expectations you had about parenting before you became a parent? Then when you compare it to what you are currently experiencing, are they like things you were expected that all of a sudden you're getting something different?
Okay. I I grew I was raised with a in a family that I really didn't have in fact we really didn't have relationship with my dad. Even if later on I almost became his closest I'm using the word almost because for me I wasn't close, but he felt so he could sit me down. We had a common uh, stand. He loved politics. I love analyzing politics. Even till now, he loved analyzing it. So that's where I was even the closest because he would even call me on phone and say, "Have you seen what Dora is doing?" That's Akunyili, the late Akunyili. See Okonjiwela, that's before he died. See this, and we just talk and That's how we got. But if it's a matter of saying being close to your father, we didn't have that. And yet, it was so unique that mine was just so unique that he never touched us, he never flogged us. Can imagine that. So we weren't afraid of him because he never flogged us, but he just didn't build a relationship. So my number one expectation was that all my children would have a relationship with their father, and I would trust God that their father would be such that would want relationship. And then like the normal, I would want children that don't have issues. They just have a smooth life. They would finish school and so on. And since I love computers a lot, I work with systems a lot, even where I am. As remote as I am, in fact, I just left my office to come in here. So I had expected that by now my children would be pressing, doing many things to the system. But when reality hit, um, my husband is very particular about his children. He doesn't do his children. So I had to start telling him, and you know, the normal African, before now, the normal African parents didn't really care about relationship with the children, with his children. He just needed to provide for their feeding, instruct them, command them, and his thing and is done. And expect them to just go like that. And times have changed, it's not like that again. So we had to consciously sit down, create our value, decide what we want for the children, and then we talked about even having relationship with all of us. So it worked for me in terms of relationship with my husband's relationship with his children. And at some point, just that I knew that I shouldn't be jealous. That's what I wanted. I remember my firstborn would not call me that mommy, would not call me my mommy, but he would call her father my daddy. Anywhere, my daddy, can you come? And it was enjoying to see. But in the practical terms of grooming children, children come in different forms. I have had a child that have had so much accident in life. At 1 year, she had lost a tooth. By three, she had lost two others. By when she was now 5, she had several accidents, just running around, very fragile, but she would want to join with others. And at some point, around when she was around 7, that's my firstborn I'm talking about. When she was around 7, okay, around 9, she she had a domestic accident that someone just threw stone into her eye, and
Oh my
she almost lost that eye. And so
oh
running
my
around, normally you would have felt let this child just go, just go, and have a smooth life. For my second, my third, we don't have such. So these are life experiences that if we knew then, we would have just given space for that, so that in case this happens, or whatever happens. So reality makes you know that you need to adjust and keep going. That notwithstanding, she's still going on. We've run through the hospitals, done some surgeries in different forms, but she's still going on. By God's grace, she's in just spring now. And then we know that God will see us. So wherever expectation meets rock, we know that we need to adjust and keep going, still with
God.
adjusted expectations. Positive.
Wow. So, like this experience you just shared about your first daughter, during that season of life, how were you able to manage your emotions and just manage the situation and still stay sane and objective as a mother?
Okay. My managing emotions for me begins with managing my relationship with God. Being a missionary that I am, because that's my core first for any other thing I'm doing. I have gone through experiences that I didn't know. When people are called into the ministry, and it's what we call full-time ministry, because I believe that every Christian is a full-time minister. But what we generally call full-time ministry. We have seen the ups and the downs of life. So I remember some period like that we were having some kind of lack, and I was so pained in my heart. I was saying, God, I'm working for you, and suddenly the scripture came to my heart. All things work together for good. So it's just revolutionized my thinking. So whenever I go through lack, for instance, or hardship, the first thing I tell God, the first thing I say is, God, I know you love me. And whatever I'm going through, I know that you know why I'm going through it. So now let me now take it back to, let me now connect with the parenting. When we had such experiences, because we've had so many, there's no parent that won't have experiences with children. As I speak with you, last year, July, my son had an accident. First July, had an accident that landed him in the hospital again. And please, I don't connect things to the devil first. I don't do that. I know that God is greater than the devil and he shields me. He loves me. He's particular about me. So when such a thing happens, and I'm also aware that I need to take care of my health because we are getting older. Any strike, you just have a high BP, you have issues also. So the first thing is to keep calm. Keep calm. If I can't bear it, I just look for a dark room. Funny enough, that's what I do. If it gets high, I just look for a dark room and I stay and I'll just calm my head and tell God, Lord, you love me. You know that this is what I'm passing through and I'm going to pass through it victoriously. So when we have such experience, I take that mindset and I also try to extend it to the children. They'll come back, oh yeah, mommy, I did this, I did that, I said, for whatever you went through, you know that God loves you. And you must carry that mindset and try to. Another mindset I have is that I would survive all my experiences. Whatever happens to me, I'm going to come out stronger. So I kind of have this fighting, some people call it the fighting spirit, the survival spirit, that no matter what I face, I'll come out. I remember when she was going to surgery for the eye, they went into the theater, opened the eye, wanted to remove the lens. That was just the minor surgery. Opened the lens, and I wanted to put in because it was a cataract. You can imagine an accident that cataract surgery is a minor surgery. So
Mm.
only for the doctor to say, the Indian doctor to say, no, 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 it's too soft. They had to close it back. That means they didn't do the surgery. They closed it back and brought her out and started saying she wasn't, the impression was that she wasn't able to go through the surgery. That's why they didn't complete the surgery. But later on, we even came to understand that her lids were too soft to do it. So all I just needed to do was just to know that I God loves me and I must bask in that love. And then that I must survive whatever comes to me. So that's my mindset and I keep going like that. Thank you.
Wow, ma, this really an awesome story, in all honesty. How do you discipline your children, your 4 children, basically?
Yeah. Discipline is one thing that can create a rift between you and your child and at the same time bond as it may be. I remember those days. Okay, I'm one of let me just give my beliefs about discipline. I believe in disciplining a child when she grows strong, but I also believe that that discipline should be the end should be to still foster relationship and not to break it. I also believe that when you discipline a child, you don't discipline in revenge. You know, there's some parents that want to show the child that I will deal with you. You see that I will deal with you, and that's revenge. You don't revenge a child. Is she your mate? And even my Bible says you don't even revenge anybody. But many parents are just vengeful on a child that does this. So uh, the first thing I do is that I have that in mind that when a child has misbehaved uh, and it demands discipline. Now, let me also add that I also discipline even with cane, and I'm not afraid to say that because I believe in the Bible that says, "Spare the rod and spoil the child." But even when flogging, I don't just flog, let me say again, in anger. Neither do I flog in revenge. I try to hold my emotions down, and then the other means is not just flogging. Flogging is just the day you want to do that. There are other ways of discipline. There are other ways. My 3-year-old child. Sometimes I even ostracize him. That's how do I say it? He could misbehave. I say, don't do that. I say, okay, leave my room. And he doesn't joke with my room. I say, can you leave my room now? He knows that that thing is serious. You now say, Mommy, I'm sorry. I say, no, leave my room for some time and know that I'm punishing you for what you would go 5 minutes later, you know them now, they will come back. But the message has been passed. Okay, so uh, that, but now, even up to the issue of using the rod, uh, like I said, you don't use in revenge. Secondly, what I do, no matter the discipline I would want to discipline, you must make sure your aim is to is to is to create, not create now, is to improve relationship. Now, there are other ways. I don't know if you heard when I said that I also use the rod.
Yes.
If in these times many say don't use rod, don't yell. I try not to yell. I'm telling you reality, I try not to yell, but now once in a while they bring you into that level. But even with that, what um what I do for me, and I think it's okay that way. First, discipline doesn't start with flogging, with this, with that. Number one, it starts with setting structures, setting structures uh, that the child should follow. That's discipline, and going through the structure. For instance, if a child wakes up, what does he do in the morning? What is morning duty? What is she supposed to do after morning duty? Like my case, let me just give you an instance. When they wake up in the morning, they do their quiet time. We do our family prayer. After the family prayer, we now they will now go to their morning duties. Even to my 3-year-old, I gave him bed to lay. Is to lay the bed, an auntie's bed in the house. He doesn't sleep on that bed, but I insisted that he should learn to do something. Let him know that responsibility, he should grow with responsibility. So he lays the bed. After that, they will take their bath, eat their breakfast, and go to school. When you come back from school, you take your lunch, and you now sleep, take your siesta for the day. And by 4, everybody should have been awake. Uh, because their school closes by 2. Later. By 4 now they go back for prep in school. They also have responsibilities when they are through, they do 1 or 2 things at home and so on. So now when there's a breach of these responsibilities, when there's a breach of the structure, when there's a breach in maybe in attitude or whatever, that's when discipline comes in. So discipline doesn't start that. That's when a review comes in. Discipline doesn't say it does. It's not just about flogging. It's not just about rebuking. It starts with how you have structured their lives, how you've structured their days and their weeks, how you structured how they do. Children shouldn't just be waking up in the morning, carrying television, carrying the screen, watching from phone to laptop, from laptop to television, and vice versa. They should have responsibility they ought to do. And when there's a breach, that's when what we now call discipline comes in. Now, what I do, whatever measure of discipline I want to do, I want to carry, what I do to them is I'll call them. Maybe one of them is Mabel. I say, Mabel, can you come? Why did you do this? At least let me hear from the child why she did such a thing or why he did it. And when they finish explaining their own, I say, I'm going to discipline you based on this. This is why I'm disciplining you. Do you have anything to say? This time I'm telling you, I know that some people may say it's a white man's way of, no, that's the way I do mine now. Clear cut instructions are given. It's not the case of, so a child will just be sitting there and say, so you don't know what to do. You don't know what to do. At your age, you are becoming this. I know you just start nagging on children. No. If you want that child to do something, just tell the child. If you want the child to do something, just tell the child. Mabel, I want you to go and wash the plates now. And please, can you take just 30 minutes for the Can you take just 30 minutes for the plate? And when the child keeps turning around, playing around, joking around, and it's time, and you know it demands discipline because not every time a child misbehaves. Sometimes it's just to talk with the child. Sometimes you know that even when you talk with that child, the child feels it more. It's still a form of discipline. So you now say, because of this is what happens to you. I can even give you biblical examples. When Adam sinned, when Adam misbehaved, what happened was that God said, why did you do this? Why did you eat the apple? Did you eat it? And Adam said yes. And instead of God to just say, okay, you did this. Why did you do this? And you know how the normal African mother just shout and yes and talk. God just told Adam, because you did this, this is what will happen. So that they will know why they are being disciplined. Now, before I end, discipline, the other time I said that discipline is not revenge. You need to let your child learn that if I discipline you, it doesn't mean that I hate you. And it also has to do with the attitude after. After the revenge, you can, I mean, after the discipline, you could call back her back or call him back and say, why did you do that? Don't ever do it again. This is why I discipline, so that you would remember that next time you want to go into it, mommy didn't want you to do that or so. So, but the aim of even discipline is to continue relationship. There's a life beyond. There's a life beyond going on. And when these children grow up, they will not, what they remember more is even the contact you have. Let it not be that the only contact you have is contact of revenge and so on and so forth. So, thank you.
Okay, Ma, thanks so much for sharing that insightful experience. Let's go to you now as a person. How do you refuel as a parent? How do you pay attention to yourself as a mom so that you are not so overwhelmed and experiencing burnout?
Okay, okay. I have the number one way I refuel. Funny enough, with my husband, I insist on that most time because I just feel to do everything. But what I do is to, he takes me out. He takes me out of the scene. Even the journey we're traveling this weekend, he just insisted I follow him because the work is overwhelming and so on and so forth. So he he also does that deliberately. Take me out for lunch and so on. But now, even beyond that, sometimes I shut down. I shut down everything and rest. Normally, I don't watch movies again. Meanwhile, I used to be a movie freak. That's I don't want to call myself addict, but I could watch a lot. But I would now say, okay, this is the time that I also go out to visit and so on and so forth. And by the time I'm back, I'm better. Now, another thing I do for myself is that I try as much as possible every day to have siesta myself. I don't mind shutting down 30 minutes to go and sleep. It's not long, just 30 minutes, 40 minutes. I've had a good nap and I'm coming out refreshed. Because if it's a matter of saying go out for 1 week, go out for 1 month, many times, especially as I carry my children along with many other things, I don't travel and leave my children that easily. Uh, I make sure that I shut down everything and rest every day in the daytime. So that's how I reflect.
Okay, Ma. So please, can you share with us what are some of the current challenges you are facing in parenting your kids?
Okay, many challenges. It's been over. We are overwhelmed. I'm actually sometimes I feel overwhelmed in it, and because, for instance, the issue of the child my first daughter that had been going in and out of the hospital at different points. And in fact, that's what told me that parenting is not parenting is not easy at all. So thank God she's better and she's still keeping up. But now the challenge of trying to raise children to have sound character, and you must insist, and that's what I do, to go against the tide. No matter what society has for us, I try as much as possible to teach them sound character. And whatever they take out of school, and when they bring it back to the house, I say, no, that's not what should happen. You don't do that here. And that issue of having outsiders find a way of, or maybe they are just seeing something that they would love to do more, going and wanting to go through that path. When you are coming back, you keep knocking, knocking. And please, before I finish, before I end this particular talk, one of the one word that children need to learn most is no. No. This is not according to your values. And let's trust God that both you and your spouse have the same values. The work will be easier. I believe that talent or whatever can take you out, but character keeps you where you are. Without character, they can't keep what excellence brings to them. They can't keep what success brings to them. So that's the challenge I'm having. And they are trying their best. But I know that it's a fight I must win. The challenge I must overcome, especially with this uh, the trends that is going on now in our society. Children you just see somebody you don't know if that's your VC, you don't know if that's the person holding your future, and you are just fighting with the person or so on and so on. So it brings me back to my house. I say no, you need to respect the person. Now, I remember this my daughter's eye accident. The person that threw stone into my daughter's eye was an adult. Just before that thing happened, my daughter said a man came to me and talked with me, and he was quarreling with me because it's a place we do our refuge. And I sent her. I told her, you know that you don't answer an adult while he's talking. You don't answer an adult while he's talking. That's rudely, except he asks you to answer him. And that's what I talked with them about. So when she went there to dump the refuse again, so another woman came up, a woman my age, and started talking with her. She said she wasn't answering her. The woman, instead of saying answer me, just carried stone and threw on her, threw on her. She dodged the first one. The younger sister was there, so the younger sister didn't come. And before you know, in a split of seconds, the woman threw the second stone, and that's how her eye got affected. That's how it hit her eye, and the big stone. And instead of her talking to her back, as soon as I heard that, I told her, come inside. Sometimes a neighbor or somebody comes to raise voice, and when I'm trying to reply, and the children were there, they want to say something. Maybe my first daughter said, Auntie is not so. I said, go inside that. You don't talk when adults are talking. You don't raise your voice on adults. Those kind of things, just to make them have sound character, is what I aim at. I believe that success will be theirs, and it will stay with them if character is molded in their lives.
Yeah, very true, ma. Well said, ma. So before we draw this episode to a close, you are a teen mom, you are a mother of teenagers. So I want you to please share with us a few tips on how we can successfully parent our teenage children.
Okay, before I sat down to, apart from my 4 children, I have many other children, even living with me in my house. And many times we reach 15 in the house. Some of them are in the universities now, uh, and when they say they are coming home, when they leave their school and say they are coming home, it means that they are coming back to my house. So I have many of them, about 4 or 5 in the universities now, and then even if my biological children are just 4. And one thing I've come to understand about raising teenage children is that levels have changed from when they were before 10. Oh. In fact, it doesn't even start with being teenagers. I noticed that when my daughter was 9 when she started, my first daughter when she started having growing breasts. And the next thing I started seeing her behave. In fact, she started calling the other ones, these children, these children. I said, you are not part of the children. Sometimes I even laugh at when I'm sharing things. Maybe the day I just want to prepare her, I'll share to the younger ones. I say, wait, mommy, where's my own? I say, I shared it to children. Are you a child? And she would laugh. So, but that sense, that sense now to me, that this child is no longer a
Mm.
child.
Yeah.
She didn't even reach at teenage age. Even the growing awareness that's happening now in our society. Those days, even when you were 14, 15, you didn't know much. But a 9, 10-year-old child, especially if you allow the child on screen and then let the child loose, which I would beg that we should doctor the screen for our children. The screen is not to teach our children life, even up to cartoons. The screen is not what we don't want. In fact, what I do is I watch cartoons first before I give the child my children to watch. Funny, I can tell you the truth, not that I'm being that raw, but till now, I don't do DSTV subscription. I don't do it because
Yeah.
I'm what I do is that if I see something, I put it in a hard drive, I put it in my phone or on my laptop
Yeah.
to them to watch. I'm okay with that for now. Maybe another person will be okay with it. And even when we have some subscription, maybe we travel and the other stuff, I try my best that we watch things like Nat Geo Wild and all those other. Let them learn technology. Let them
Mm.
learn other cartoons and so on. So somehow, the innocence have still been preserved in one way or the other. I don't know if you understand what I mean. Somehow, the innocence have been preserved in one way or the other by being this deliberate, by being this intentional, by being this forceful. Now, forceful, I know that some people kind of force may be that they want to force the child into what they want. No, but can be forceful what you let the child and still in love about. So what I do now is I interact more with her. About 2 years now, we have talk time. Sometimes I say, it's long we've not talked. Let's fix a time to talk together. I remember last year, uh, my child, she started. I started seeing her jumping around, and sometimes I allow her join the adults talk. I have 3 adults currently now. I have 3 female adults in my house. That's when I mean adults. They are 20 plus now, and sometimes we talk and we call menstrual period auntie. So we just be talking. I'll just bring her in and say, when your auntie comes, this, that. So when she started last year, she told me that's December that she felt something in her pants. I had already done and talked to them about menses and whatever. And I brought in the 9 year old. I brought in the 9 year old because she needs to know about this on time and start working towards it. So I called them, carried them somewhere, talked to them about what menses, how you can manage it, how it comes out, your ovulation and everything. And when I was done with it, I now she started working. She started expecting. Suddenly, she told me that she had menses. I said, you didn't tell me. She said she was ashamed. I said, I wanted to give you a gift if you had a message. And the next time it happened, she said, 1 month after or so, she has had it. She knows that it comes out like month, but that she just finished doing and she used water to wash it. I said, okay, wait for some time. I said, I go back to the toilet, use uh, use the tissue and clean it. Let me see. When she cleaned it, I didn't see blood. I just said, okay, don't worry, it will soon come. Got her ready for it. So many times we talk. It's more of talking. You talk with them. You have time with them. And you are not fighting with your child. I don't tend to turn my child into my enemy. Rather, we should work together. So we hear their views, talk with them. I'm saying this because it's not just I've had teenagers also. Sometimes they can be so weird, but you have to learn how to control your emotions and direct them.
To conclude this, I want you to please give us your final words to mothers out there listening to you who may have to some extent lost their identity due to parenting, because a lot of mothers fall into that trap where we lose ourselves because we are in that season of parenting, especially when your child is a bit not independent. So what will you say to a mother who is going through that experience at the moment?
Okay, I think that happened to me because of not having enough information on time. Somehow we grew up in an environment where they just are you ready to marry? Say yes, okay, you can go. There was not enough education on what can happen to a woman in marriage. And when I had my first child, suddenly all my expectations crashed. Even conferences, meetings, workshops I normally would have gone to, and even normal daily, weekly meetings, I just was able to barely cope with work. Now, if I had known before time, I would have given myself space in my heart and said, this is the time for this. And this is primary. Now, child raising is a primary duty. Every other thing can wait. Oh. I'm telling you the truth. Because if you don't put in your time for your children, it will pass. And at the same time, if you are done with raising your children, I heard someone say, and I think it's true, the first 10 years of your child's life is what you couldn't do. So I know that women at the point, it makes me know that a woman shouldn't just chase any other thing first. She should take her time, give herself space, and know that this is what I'm doing now. This is what I'm raising my kids now. I must be blunt. I must be blunt with you that you should give your time, yourself space. That this period I want to raise my kids. Whatever I'm doing, I don't need to run. Rather than I can crawl. As soon as I'm done with this next how many years, I'm going to fly. I'm going to fly in it. For now, I can take a step at a time, handling the children, doing whatever I need to do. Where I need to outsource, I will outsource. But now, I don't outsource and forget it. I outsource with supervision. So when I knew that, I just I decided that that's what I'm going to do, and it has helped me rather than sitting down sulking and say because of children I have not done work, I've not done this. No, you need to give yourself space and give yourself time. It's a primary duty.
Wow, thank you so much for the great insights you've shared. I really agree with what you said about rather than run, crawl. You know, sometimes women make the mistake to put their life on hold. Rather than put your life on hold, you take baby steps, take it slow, and just make sure that you are making progress every step of the way. Thank you so much, Ma, for honoring our invitation and being part of this conversation. We appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
There you have it. We've concluded our series on the parenting journey, and I believe that you've been able to learn certain things to help you thrive in your parenting journey. Thank you for joining us on today's episode, and see you on our next episode. Bye. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of the Women Lighthouse podcast. We really hope today's episode has given you some great tools, resources, and a boost of confidence to take charge of your journey. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to subscribe on our YouTube channel and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. You can also follow us on our social media handle for even more tips and a wonderful community that's all about supporting your growth. Join us next time for more uplifting stories and encouraging insights. Until we meet again, keep shining bright, stay inspired, and embrace your unique path to a better tomorrow.